Hello, welcome back if you're returning from another video, and if you're new to my channel, thank you for watching. It's great to have you here. For this video today, we're doing something a little bit more specific. It's actually going to be on Stephen Covey's time management matrix, and this is actually how I sort my tasks on a daily and monthly basis. I have a spread in my bullet journal where I kind of brain dump all of my tasks, and then from there I sort them into different categories based on their priority level. So this is actually how I do that, and it's actually super simple once you get the idea of it, and it's a really easy and fun way for me, because it's visual, to be able to sort your tasks and just feel a little bit better about the things you're getting done, doing things that you know that are important to you. So I find it a very helpful tool, so I wanted to make this video. So we're gonna get right into it. The first box is going to be urgent and important. It basically ranges from the emergency room to any kind of meetings or important appointments. There are things that you cannot neglect, and if you do, they will impact your life negatively. So an example could be getting an oil change when your car really needs it because you put it off for a really long time and now it's become urgent. That's one that I've definitely dealt with before. But it could also be even going to the emergency room yourself. Obviously that'd be something you have to do immediately, and for this one that means you have to do it now. Things in box 1 are things you have to do right now. So if you're not really sure still what tasks fall into this for you, it might not be that obvious, so you can ask yourself, does this require immediate action? Does this affect my career, physical health, or emotional well-being? So that's a simple way to determine it for you if it's not so obvious. Getting into box 2. If you bullet journal, which you probably do since you're watching this, you're going to put these things in your weekly or your monthly. You're going to put these tasks on certain days of the month or certain days in your week to figure out when to do them. They're your priorities, but you don't have to do them right away. So in terms of time management, this is your sweet spot. Completing tasks and pursuing things that will benefit your life before they become a box 1 problem. And when you do that, before they become a box 1 problem, it eliminates a lot of stress and overwhelm and helps you to keep track of things before they become emergencies. It helps you avoid procrastination by planning a day for these to be done, so that you don't forget about them, and they're important and they benefit your life, so you want to make sure that those things happen. Stay true to yourself and the things that are important to you. So some examples would be bullet journaling, going for a jog, and checking in on family members. It's good to know that things end up in box 1 because you've neglected things that are in box 2. For example, perhaps not bullet journaling would be a cause of you having payments past due because you haven't been keeping on top of your deadlines in your journal. Simple example there. Box 2 is all about doing the proactive thing to prevent a task from becoming a problem. I find that really helpful. Alright, box 3, it is not urgent but important, so this one's a little bit trickier. You could be burdening yourself with unnecessary tasks, and it might just take you realizing that these things aren't actually necessary and might just be wasting your time or they don't benefit whatever it is that you're working on. It's hard to tell sometimes, so you really have to use your own discretion for this one. If you're in school, a good example could be that you're doing a lot of extra work and it doesn't really contribute to your topic. Maybe there's someone else working on another part of the project that it may more appropriately suit, so you could actually give that to them if it's that kind of group project where you feel comfortable doing that. It would be that kind of thing. So I usually find that it applies more to business owners and managers. It doesn't really apply to me usually, but if you're in school, you may find it a little bit more relevant to you. This could include sending or responding to an unnecessary text message, responding to an unnecessary email. Perhaps you just need to realize that this task is actually not urgent at all. Okay, so we're getting to our last and final box, number 4. This one is completely useless. I'm just kidding. The tasks in this one are completely useless. It's going to be not urgent and not important. You're going to want to eliminate these tasks altogether. They're going to be things that take away time you could spend on pursuing activities that are important to you. They're things that you really know deep down in your heart. They're not important to you, and they keep you from doing things you know are really constructive. So I'm pretty much talking about social media here. A lot of us have a problem with just kind of binging social media, just going on there for like an hour, even when we know that it doesn't make us feel good and it's not good for us. So that's definitely one that's going to be in this box. So these are things that pretty much waste your time. And don't get me wrong, TV or like watching large amounts of TV can be relaxing. I really like movies, so watching movies actually helps my mental health. You just have to know what's right for you and what's too much for you. But those things you need to eliminate altogether, and it may be a little bit harder to determine this when you go through your tasks, because my tasks normally only fall in 1, 2, and 3, probably because we mostly decide not to do these things subconsciously or really quickly in our head, but it's still something good to keep in mind. Right, so we're going to move on. I'm actually going to pull from my own life here, and I'm going to write down some things that are relevant for me, and maybe you can follow along with me here. Just draw your 4 squares and number them. And let's be honest, before coronavirus, there would be a lot more things I could put in here, but for the sake of the video, I'm going to put things that are time sensitive but aren't really urgent in that they will greatly damage my well-being if I don't do them, if that makes sense. So again, I just want to say they're not exactly things I would normally put in urgent. I'm only doing that because I feel like my whole task list is kind of shifted as a result of being home a lot. So for box 2, there's actually so many things that go into box 2, which is a good thing. I mean, it's pretty much anything that you like to do, to be honest. If you really enjoy painting or watching movies, like those things would all go in there. So there's a lot of things for this box. I'm actually reading Anna Karenina right now, and I'm loving it, so let me know if any of you guys have read that book. So these are things that are not urgent. There's no deadline that's coming up super fast on them, but if I do them, they will positively affect my mental and physical health, as well as my goals and success. So for the third box here, this one's a little bit trickier for me. I actually am reminded of something that Elizabeth Gilbert said. She said that it's not always about saying no to the things that you don't want to do, but sometimes we have to say no to things we want to do to be able to really do the things we really want to do. And there's a difference between things we want to do and things we really want to do. You have to kind of determine that for yourself. So sometimes there are going to be things that you want to do, but they're just not as important, and you need to prioritize the other things and kind of demote those other tasks. And this is something I've been dealing with because I've been a little overwhelmed by putting a lot of pressure on myself to do certain things every day. So these last ones here are just things that specifically today are not necessary for me to do, even though in the back of my mind I've definitely been thinking about doing them today. Specifically, playing Animal Crossing, even though I've played enough today for sure. I've also spent plenty of time on social media, so I'm going to try to avoid that for the rest of the day. Yeah, that's done, and now you should have a better idea of what each category looks like. And let's move on to how to actually incorporate this into your bullet journal in a really easy, simple way. Here's my task spread from January. This was actually my Disneyland theme that I did. Comment below if you'd like for me to record some flip-throughs of older spreads like this one. So this one I completely filled up with every kind of thing I had been putting off. If you put off a lot of things like I do, then this probably sounds stressful, but acknowledging them is the only way you can come up with a proactive plan to do these things and not let them get any worse. You're doing an awesome thing by starting with this, so just keep going with it. What I did was write the columns for each box, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I would put a task mark in the column each one belonged to. You also might want to have your time matrix on the side so that you can reference it really quickly while you get the hang of it still. It's honestly a really quick process. You just have to decide for each one, and then from there, if you have any box 1 problems, you'll do those, and after that, any task 2 problems you'll just write into your calendar or weekly. Let me show you another example. This is my most recent task spread. I could use the task clean car right there, the second one, to show you what I mean. I would just go over here to my weekly, make sure that I write down and remind myself to clean my car. And then I'll go back over and even put an arrow next to the task to signify that I've put it further ahead of my weekly. So that way I know I've already written it down. I don't have to worry about that one anymore until the day comes that I decided to do it. Alright, there it is. That is how I use my bullet journal to get things done. It's a really organized yet loose way to get everything out and move towards your goals. Let me know if this was helpful for you, and if you have any tips from your own tasking experience, I would love to hear them. I hope everyone is staying safe, and hopefully I'll be seeing you soon in another video. Thanks for watching.